absolutely sure we don't know everything. Hi, confidants. It's just me. It's just your girl. How's it going? Happy President's Day? I feel like I don't even want to say that. Is it a happy P Day? Is it? Are we just skipping this altogether and using it to celebrate other things? Do you guys have off today? I hope you do. I hope you're enjoying it, doing something relaxing. It was just a week. A week. It's been a day. It's been a day and a week for your girl. Ugh, I can't remember if this is my first hostful, like only host episode since Zachary Noe Towers left us. I can't, honestly, I don't know, but I'm pretty much just using you guys as my like personal diary entries anyway. So what else is new? I hope you've been liking having the rotating guest host, though. I've been enjoying finding and inviting over my funniest and most unique and cool and interesting friends to come chat. I've got some fun friends scheduled for you guys coming up pretty soon. But if there is someone in particular you want to have on, drop it below and tell me, what do you want me to talk to them about and why? What's interesting? What are you watching? What are you listening to? Tell me all the things. Oh, this episode is going to be all over the place. I mean, it, like I said, has been a week. Bing bong.
Don't Google it.
Wrong button, Kelsey. There we go. Housekeeping. Let's see. We just had Valentine's Day this past week. Henny and I celebrated with ourselves and then also with the girl we are dating. He surprised me because I had flown home from my family ski trip the night before, and he knew all the drama that had happened. And so he was like, I booked you this thing, and it's been on my bucket list for freaking ever. It's one of those head spas. You know what I'm talking about from TikTok, where they wash your hair and you pay them money to wash your hair and then also put a microscope underneath your head scalp and tell you how gross your hair is. It just looks so goddamn relaxing, and it has been on my bucket list for freaking ever. Obviously, you guys all know I deal with a bunch of jaw pain, and that like goes into the head muscles, and hair and styling has always been an issue for me. So to go where I could just completely unwind and relax, it was so nice. But like so many funny things happened. Okay, so it was like 10 in the morning was my appointment, because I think that was the only one that they had on Valentine's Day, and it was a very busy day at the head spa. Lots of baddies getting their heads rubbed. Apparently that's a thing. And the spa had told me, they were like, oh, we're doing a couple little like extra cute little tidbits for Valentine's Day. So, you know, they got us these like Dubai chocolates that are really popular all over the internet right now. And they had like ribbons on everything. And it was just like, they gave us roses. It was really cute. And I don't know why, but they told me, they were like, in your dressing room is like champagne and chocolates, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know if I just wasn't like processing that properly, but I'm nearly 6 years sober, and or am I 6 years? No, I'm oh my God, I'm almost 7 years sober. Holy shit. See, that's how fast time flies. And they had told me there was champagne in the dressing room, but for some reason, I don't know if it's because I thought like it's 10 in the morning, it's not actually champagne, or I just hadn't had enough to drink that morning and I was feeling dehydrated. But my dumbass takes a bite of chocolate. It's delicious. And then I have a sip of champagne. And I was like, as soon as it hit my lips, I was like, ooh. And then I was like, oh. And I felt that like alcohol-y taste. And I was like, this is alcohol. This is champagne. When you told me this was champagne in the dressing room, you literally meant champagne. Okay. I don't know why I thought it would be freaking sparkling juice or like, I don't know, you guys, but I was just like, okay, this is how we're getting started. Let's fucking go. So obviously push that to the side. Did finish the chocolate. That was really good. It was so nice. And it's a room where there's like multiple wash stations. So you're kind of like next to 3 or 4 people, but you know, you have a curtain, but it's like an open room. And I don't know how these bitches contain themselves, because the second someone started rubbing my head, I started making all sorts of noises. And I feel like I should have charged money for that. Like, I was so relaxed They were making me feel so, bro, I get it. Like, I get why cats love their heads being scratched, why they turn into like otherworldly outer space relaxed when they do it. I just, oh my God, the noises that were coming out of my body. And I don't know that the other people in the room didn't realize that, like, I have to assume they thought something else was going on, because there's no way they made it through without being like, what is happening to the girl next door to us? Is she okay? Oh, so they wash her head. They like pre-wash it with a toothbrush. I know that sounds confusing, but that's what they did. They pre-washed my head with a toothbrush. They put the little microscope underneath, and y'all, I was like so prepared to be fully disgusted by my own head. Like, I've seen people do this online, and I'm like, oh, ew, what the fuck? I'm not gonna lie, bitches. Your girl has an A1 scalp. There's a sentence I never thought I would say in my life, but it's true. My washer lady, I think her name was Alice. She was lovely. She was like, oh, wow. Do you like do this often? I was like, no. And she's like, do you like scratch your head a lot? I was like, I guess I do. Like, I do massage my head a lot. She's like, you have a very healthy scalp. Like, there is no oiliness or like like dandruff. There's no, like, it's very thick. It's very healthy. Like, that you're good. Like, she was basically saying, like, you don't need this. And I was like, word? Is that something I could put on my resume? Okay. God could have given me big tits or like flat fucking thighs, but instead he gave me a good scalp, I guess. So she was like, I'm just going to do all the like regular stuff and give you a good extra head massage. And I was like, I fucking love you, Alice. And so they use, of course, this super expensive product. And by the way, I would never spend this amount of money on someone washing my head ever. I think my boyfriend knows that. And that's why he had to buy it for me. I've also seen it where, like, in certain parts of town, you can get it for way cheaper. Or, like, I've seen girlies who, like, drive an hour outside of LA because it's, like, $60. I don't even feel comfortable telling you how much this spa appointment. It was more than a massage. I'll say that. It was more than, like, a full body hour massage, which now that I'm saying that out loud is fucking nanners. Like, he paid so much money, knowing damn well I would never pay this amount to get my head touched that way. And listen, was it worth it? Yeah. Would I ever pay that again? Nah. I don't think I spend money on a lot of dumb shit, but for some reason I feel like I could just force people in my life that I love to rub my head like that for free. Anyway, they do all sorts of bits and bobs on your head. She did a mask on my hair, and then they give you like an iced coffee and some macaroons, which are really cute, and they give you a blowout. And I'm not gonna lie, that was maybe one of the best blowouts of my life. My hair looked fucking good, dude. It was nice. And the whole thing was like an hour and a half. And afterwards, they like did the microscope on my head again. And it looked exactly the same. She was like, I told you, it's great. And I was like, all right, word. But yeah, I felt like getting a blowout, which I do not do. I only do it when like my mom's in town for some reason because it's something she does. So I'll just go with her. I feel like that's something I want to invest in because it made me feel just having your fucking hair done like real good and knowing like, damn, I don't have to worry about it. That's the thing that like I wake up every morning wishing was already done. But because I have such thick curly hair, it's like such a pain in my ass. And I'm wondering, do you guys get blowouts? If you do, how often? How much do you pay for them? Like how like often are you willing to like mess them up if you need to have sexy time? Because that was the thought I had. I was like, oh no. This looks so nice, but I'm absolutely going to bone people today. It stayed. I'm not going to lie. A little dry shampoo helped, and it stayed for 2 days. So after that, I took my boo to one of his favorite stores because I wanted to get him a nice Valentine's Day gift. And the store I was going to buy him his gift at in Aspen on my ski trip was closed. So we went shopping with Hippo. And then we met up with our girly girl and we went and did an escape room. And we did so good with the escape room that right when we came out, I think we were on like a runner's high situation, that they asked if we wanted to do another one, which is an insane thing to do because one, escape rooms are not cheap. Two, they're like intense. Like you have to think. And it was also like 9 p.m. But for some reason, we were all like, yeah, let's go do another one. Why? I don't know. I've done a back-to-back escape room one other time, and it was very fun, but it was a lot fucking harder to do because your brain is just like French fried at that moment. So we drove to it was the same company, but they were like, okay, go to this location. We were like, oh, we thought we were going to just, okay, yeah, no, sure, we'll go to the other location. So we did the other location. We did not get out of that escape room. And that is the first escape room I have failed in a very long time. It made me super sad, but there is a reason why I think we lost, and I will tell you that after all of this jazz. And then we went out to dinner, which is so funny. Like, we haven't put an official label on what we three are, but it is very, like, funny being out in public on a holiday where you're like clearly with two people, and we went to this very like crunchy LA progressive restaurant, and I feel like even there, like, there were clearly like lesbians and couples like all around the restaurant, and yet I felt like people were confused by us. And yeah, like, we've gone to the farmers market together, and I've had people be like, oh yeah, like your boyfriend over there who's like holding that shirt, and your friend, like that. I don't know. People just don't know what to call it. And I frankly don't know either, like how to correct them, or like I just don't know how to label this now that it's like a consistent thingy thing. And of course I could just talk to them about it, but I think we're all just kind of enjoying this evergreen, fun part of like dating somebody where it's just, like you just like, you got those butterflies, you got those giddy, like, ooh, things feel really good. And then let's see. Yes. Okay. So got that out of the way. Valentine's Day was very cute, very fun. Rewinding a little bit, let's go back 5 or 6 days. I get to go on a trip with my family, like where we are all in the same place, probably once a year that we are all together. Even like the holidays, sometimes we don't know if we're going to be together or like where everyone's going to be. So like for me, my mom, my sister, and my dad to all be in one spot is our big deal vacation every year. Spoiler alert, this part of the story is going to be very crazy and insane and a little bit ridiculous and bougie. But you have to remember, my mother is a boss bitch who works 365 days a year to provide the lifestyle that she wants because she grew up very like below poverty line. And now when she goes on vacations with her family, she wants to go big. Oh my God, my Alexa's talking to me. Why is she talking to me? Stop talking. Okay. The government's listening now. Well, I hope you enjoyed this story because it's a doozy. So our family ski trip, after I went to Aspen last year on a girls trip for the first time, again, I had a very group of bougie girlfriends. I was by far the poorest one, but we had so much fun. To me, Aspen has always been this like, I don't know, fairy tale place that like I could never afford. It sounds so ridiculous. It's for the stars. It's like where my rich friends go. I never thought that that's a place I would like, because I'm just kind of anti that shit to a degree. Like I need things to be realistic. But when I went last year for this girls trip, y'all, I can't remember if I told y'all the whole story of this girls trip, but it was all of us that had met at a breakup boot camp. So we were out there. We were fucking out there. We were partying. We were up till the sun was coming up. I slept until 2 p.m., mind you, sober, sleeping until 2 p.m. the next day, skiing, eating, après. Oh my God, snow bunny outfits, shopping. Like, I just had such a good time that I called my mom leaving Aspen last year, and I was like, I don't care what you say. This is the trip for next year. You have to come experience this. So there had been a lot of hype leading up to this family trip. Also because when I grew up skiing, that was like our family vacation every year, because we are from the beach, we're from the sun, so our vacations were in the mountains and in the snow, and that is like our sport, that's our love, and we always went to the same mountain nearly every year. Like, we would maybe sometimes teeter out of our safe zone, but we always would go to our same spot every year. And so this was a very big deal that we were not going to our regular family ski trip. This was like, we were all very hype. We had an incredible little condo, like right steps from the mountain, right in the middle of all the food and the action and like fun. And I was flying in from LA. My family was flying in from Tampa. So I got there a few hours early. I think it was Super Bowl Sunday when I flew in. And I literally like dropped my bags off at the condo and walked across the street and skied. Like I was like, this place is heaven. Why not? I'm just going to go across the street and ski. And usually when I'm on vacation, I take the first day to like decompress and blah, blah, blah. But I knew my family wasn't getting in until later. And I was like, yes, let me get some skiing. I went and skied on a mountain that is considered the advanced mountain. It's not like there are 0 easy beginner runs. Like you assume the risk and responsibility on going on this mountain. And I skied so freaking hard and it was so fun. And then my family got in that night and I'm like, I can't wait to take them around Aspen. Oh, this is going to be so fun. This is going to be great. Well, confidants. First things first, my dad comes down with the flu the very first day. Like he said, he started to feel a little funky on the plane because he was like, everyone was coughing. I've never seen so many people coughing. What is it these days? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, you're fine. You're fine. Mind you, he's 75 years old. He gets the flu. And when it's not just the flu, it's like the flu. So we knew he wasn't feeling great, but we're like, Aspen, we got to go out. We got to take advantage of this one thing that we all planned and hyped up and we must go do it. Meanwhile, we're all like, is Dad going to be okay? Should he actually be coming out? I feel like this is a bad idea. So we go the first day to a mountain that is considered an easy, like one of the easiest mountains in Aspen. Because the cool thing about Aspen, and again, this is very like, I feel very stupid and privileged talking about this, but there's like 4 mountains in Aspen that you can ski. And they're all very different terrain. And like you can have a very different day every single day that you're there. So we knew we wanted to take it easy. We're like, let's go to the easy mountain. We get there. We ski a little bit and I knew my dad wasn't feeling very well because he was a lot slower than he normally was. He was like kind of out of breath. The altitude's really high. And we're like, dang, like he probably only wants to do like a half day. Like I think we might need to go in. So he's like, yeah, I'm going to take a break. Like I'm going to go in and go back to the condo. And we're like, great. So me, my mom, and my sister are by ourselves. And I'm like, well, if we're not going to like ski a full day, I'm going to go ski what the expert runs, which are like black diamond runs or double black diamonds. And they all end up down at the same chairlift at the bottom of the hill. So like my mom and sister could ski the blue runs, which is the mediums. I could go on the blacks and we would all end up at the chairlift together. And I'm like, okay, hey, you guys go do that. I'll see you at the chairlift. So I ski the top of the mountain, the blacks, very well. I crushed it. I was blasting the new Doechii album in my speakers. I literally was having such a good time that at one point I'm like taking in the vistas and I'm like, I have so much gratitude for my body that I can do this, that I'm healthy enough. Like, wow, I feel so grateful that my family's here, that we can do these trips together. Like I literally am saying this shit in my head and I see my mom towards the bottom of the mountain and I am like, oh, great. So I'm coming out of the hard run and now I'm going into like the very easy terrain that just leads to the chairlift at the bottom of the mountain. So it's what's called a transition, which is basically like you're going from moguls and bumps and like crazy terrain to very flat terrain. And I was looking sideways. I was going across the mountain sideways. And so I was looking down at my mom at the chairlift. And I literally was like, wow, this is so great. My mom just had heart surgery 2 weeks ago. And like, here we are. Like, we're so lucky. And like, as that thought is in my head, I don't see the catwalk transition that my skis go directly into. They pop off. I fly out of my skis, no joke, probably like 10 to 15 feet. And this happened so fast because I was bombing it down this mountain that I didn't even have enough time to A, register I was falling, and B, to put my hands out in front of me. And I think had I put my hands out in front of me, I would have broke both wrists. But fear not, My face broke my fall. That's right. I land directly on my fucking right eye. My neck crooks. My legs are over my head like a scorpion. I am like my life flashes before my eyes. If you remember from last year's ski trip where I went solo, I had a very similar fall. This was 10 times more painful. I, thank God, am wearing a helmet. I had just gotten this sick new helmet where the goggles are actually built into the eyes, like into the helmet, so that you can just like put them up, flip them up and down like sunglasses. But I immediately am like, okay, I probably broke my face. Can I wiggle my toes? Can I wiggle my fingers? Like if you've ever gone skiing, you know that kind of fall, like there is nothing like eating shit like that. Like you're like, am I dead? And I thought there was a good chance maybe I was. I was like, I probably snapped my neck and I'm in heaven now. But I feel my fingers, I feel my toes, and I'm just like, everything hurts, but like I also simultaneously can't feel anything because I think the adrenaline was pumping so hard. I am on the ground for like a good 2 to 3 minutes. There is nobody in sight around me. Like my mom and sister are already down at the chairlift. They can't see me. I'm on the ground up the hill. The chairlift's too far. Anyone can see me. I don't see any skiers in the distance. It's like a Monday, so no one's really out at this time. It was empty, and I was like, "Oh, dude, bro, I would be dead for surezies, like had I not been wearing a helmet and like no one was out here." And so I'm laying there just for like a long 2 minutes, just like I have to get up. I get up. I have to go find my skis. I put them on, and I'm like, of course, in crises and in like a terrible moment, I'm laughing because that's how I deal with trauma, is comedy. So I'm laughing so hard, and I put my skis on, and I'm still I think like shock and adrenaline pumping, that I get down to like the base, and I see my mom and my sister, and they look like they've been looking for me because I could tell they were concerned that I had not already gotten down there. And what happens next? What happens next is not even the craziest thing that happened this ski week. We'll be right back and you'll hear the rest. So I'm laughing because I'm like in trauma, and my sister and my mom were like, "Are you okay? Like, where are you? We opened Find My iPhone and your little dot just wasn't even moving." And I was like, "Yeah, I ate shit pretty bad." And then they like see my face and they're like, "Oh my God, your eye is already like swelling and turning black and blue." And I'm like, "Oh yeah. Like I fucked my shit up." And they're like, What do you mean?" I was like, "Oh, I landed like on my face." And my mom's like, "Are you like?" We need to get your eye checked out. Like you're swelling already. Like we need to get ski patrol. Like come sit down. And I'm like, no. My ego cannot allow me to be taken down in a ski patrol toboggan. That is the worst, most embarrassing thing that can happen to somebody with an ego as big as mine. So I'm like, no, mother. I'll get on the chairlift. We'll go back up to the summit where I will then ski all the way down to the basin and where the ski patrol is and like where the exit is. And they're like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so as we get up the chairlift, I start to feel everything. I'm feeling my neck. I'm feeling my eye. I'm feeling my ribs. I can't even begin to explain the pain. And so I basically ski down with my mom and my sister as fast but as safely as humanly possible, because I'm like, "Oh, this bad. I feel bad." And we ski directly to the basin where usually you have to like pop off your skis and walk down to like the base. But luckily there were like 3 ski patrols just standing at the bottom. And I just like literally skied straight into them and was like, "Hello, I fucked my shit up." And they were like, "Oh, okay, what happened?" I was like, "I fell and I hit my head real bad." And as I'm standing there and like my mom's trying to talk to them, all of a sudden I just lose vision in my left eye. Like it just gone. And I'm like, "Whoa." And I'm talking to the ski patrol and I'm like, "Hey, I can't see you out of my and I'm literally talking like this. I'm sure I sounded fucking insane because I'm like, "Oh, I can't see you anymore. Like you're supposed to be right here and I can't see it. Like there's nothing there." And he's like, "I think we probably need to go into the little medic room." And I'm like, "Great idea." As that's beginning to happen, they're getting me into the medic room, and I am starting to feel really nauseous. Like I have to puke. And I'm like, oh, I'm concussed. I've got a concussion. I banged my brain. I banged my brain against my skull. This is what that is. I had a nar concussion when I was young in middle school playing flag football. I banged my head on concrete. And all I remember from that time was puking like crazy, because when you bang your head that hard, you puke, and wanting to go to sleep. Like I was so tired, and they were like, do not go to sleep. Do not let her go to sleep. And I was like, I was crying because I was so tired. I was like, please, I just like, let me close my eyes for 5 minutes. Sure enough, concussed. Ouchies, that hurt. So I knew as soon as I started to feel that wave of nausea, I was like, oh, I'm concussed. So they start to see that I'm puking, and they're like, listen, you can talk to us, which is great. Your blood pressure is really high. You can't see out of one eye. Your other eye is starting to swell into a black eye, and you're about to throw up. Like, we really suggest you go to a hospital. And I'm like, nah, I've been concussed before. I know what this feels like. It's just a concussion. And they're like, we really advise. And my mom's like, Kels, I think maybe we should go to, I'm like, all right, fine, I'll go, but I'm going to Uber there. Don't call an ambulance. And they're like, we really advise you get in the ambulance. And I'm like, Mom, you make the call. Because I boinked my brain. I don't feel like I can make the right decision here. And the sweet ski patrol, whether or not he should have said this or told us this information, I don't know. But he like heard my hesitation, and we were kind of going around in circles about it. And finally he just goes, look, I'm not going to lie to you. We're being very sensitive right now because we can't see what's going on inside of your head. Like, we can assess the symptoms, but we can't physically see if there's a brain bleed. And we did have a woman yesterday decline to go to a hospital after we strongly suggested it for a concussion, and she ended up passing from it. She got a brain bleed that no one could see. She couldn't tell. And we are not going to have that happen again, essentially. And that only took 0.5 seconds for my mom to go, call the ambulance, please. So they called the ambulance. And honestly, at that point, like once that got in my head, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, my helmet's not very dinged up, but still, like, I landed on my face and I'm like throwing up and I can't see. Like, I started to get a little panicky of like, uh-oh. And the ambulance is there within 2 minutes, which shout out to Aspen Valley Hospital. Y'all, the best hospital I've ever been to. So, of course, because of course, the paramedic is hot as fuck. His name was Carl, and he was so hot. And I'm like, great. I'm throwing up into a bag. My eye's black. I'm like delirious here. I can't see anything. And this man is like asking me questions and trying to give me pain drugs and things like that. And he was so nice. And the ambulance ride was maybe 3.5 minutes to the hospital. Get to the hospital. They start to give me some meds for my headache, because the headache is, how do I say this? My brain was on fire. And so I'm like pretty fucking loopy, but I'm starting to feel all the pain. And I could feel my rib all of a sudden being super, super painful. And I was like, I think I fucked up my rib. So get a chest x-ray. I cracked my rib. Yay. But then the CT scan I do, and it all comes back okay. No swelling, no nothing, no brain bleed. I just am concussed. I stayed for probably another like 3 hours because they wanted to make sure my headache went away. Because it was so bad. Like, I was crying. My mom was like holding me like a little baby. And eventually they did get the headache under control. With a cracked rib, like, there's nothing you can do. Like, a bruised rib, there's nothing you can do. Like, you just have to wait for it to heal. So I was like, cool. This is going to be the most expensive trip of my life. But alas, I did feel a lot better that I knew I was okay. And like, you know, even though I'm probably gonna have to pay like 6 G's for my insurance deductible, we lived it. We survived it. Mind you, this is day fucking 1 of my family vacation. So that we're all together. So I realized, okay, look, dad has the flu. Mom had heart surgery 2 weeks ago. It's not like she needs to be going that ham, even though her doctor said she could exercise and ski. And like, I'm going to take it chill. I'm going to take it very easy. Like, we don't need to go crazy. So the rest of the week is very chill, very calm. Like, dad is still struggling with his symptoms. He ends up going to get an IV because he needs fluids and he feels really poo poo. And we are just like, having the most fun that we can, remembering that I am concussed and, need to chill. So by day 5 or 4, whatever it was, I feel very good. I feel like back to normal. I don't have any headaches. I'm not like, like I'm able to ski. I feel good. And there had been one thing on our bucket list for this trip that we wanted to do that I did last year that I saw on TikTok. And again, confidants, when I tell you, I know what I'm about to say is stupid, outrageous, privileged, excessive, like exorbitant. Is that the word? Exorbitant or exorbitant? Just like very dumb. But if you heard me talk about the trip last year, there's a place called Cloud9, which is a like après cabin on the side of a mountain that you can only access by skiing to it. And every day at 1:30 p.m. during the season, which is like a couple of weeks, they have a champagne party, which is where you all like wear your goggles and like a bikini top and you buy bottles of champagne and there's a DJ that plays crazy music. And for like 45 minutes, you spray champagne and you dance and you dance and you dance and you party. And it's just a stupid way to show off your wealth and waste money. That being said, last year I was like with my friend and I was like, we got to get into this fucking party. It looks so much fun. I don't even drink. I'm sober, but like it looks like it would be a hoot and a half. And we basically like got someone's cancellation and we had to sit outside, but that was fine by me. And we got the cheapest bottles of champagne because we were like, we just want to spray one or two. Like, come on, we want to be part of the party. And I think we got out of there without spending more than like $300. That included like lunch. And when I say that was a steal, I'm talking about like per table, the usual amount spent is $12,000 per table. And so the fact that I was able to somehow like broke girl rich experience that, I was like, we can do this again. My mother needs to try this party. My sister loves music, loves house music, loves DJing. We have to go to Cloud9 again. So on the last day, my dad is like, I'm not fucking going to that shit. I'm still a little sick. You guys go have your fun. We ski up to Cloud9 and somehow we got put at the best table in the house. I have no idea how. Pure luck. We are in the middle of all these other tables and each table has like 6 or 7 people. It's just me, my mom, and my sister. And we are like truly like, this is going to be a hoot. Like, this is going to be so much fun. We order like some fondue. We are drinking water because we don't drink. And like my mom will drink, but she's not a drinker. Like she'll have a glass of champagne or like a cocktail or whatever. So she's like, oh yeah, I'll wait for the champagne. And like, we're all just kind of watching around. And you can see that like as more and more people are coming in, you're like, oh yeah, we're the poorest people here, like by far. And just like what they're wearing, the type of accessories they have on, the food they're ordering, like seafood towers. There's Magnum bottles of champagne coming out that are like $700 a pop. I'm like, okay. We don't have to do all that. We're here for the party. Who cares about what everyone else is doing? We're doing just something so fun. And so you see, like, as it gets closer and closer to the time, people are starting to like change into their outfits. Like most dudes don't wear a top. Like they're just shirtless with their ski pants on and goggles. And like you wear goggles so you don't get champagne into your eyes. And then like part of the fun is after it's over, everyone's covered in champagne and you like ski back down the bottom of the hill. What could possibly go wrong, right? And again, this is kind of like a very unique to Aspen experience, YOLO, once in a lifetime nonsense. So, we're getting excited. Me and my sister are like, yeah, you want to buy a bottle? You going to buy a bottle? I'm going to buy a bottle. Okay, we'll each buy a bottle. My mom's like, y'all go ahead and buy a bottle. I ain't paying for that shit. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to be here and like video with my iPhone and capture the moments. And I was like, all right, Mom, sure. My mom cuts a hole in a garbage bag and wears it like a poncho. And she's probably the oldest person in there by like 20 years. But she looks like a fucking rock star and a badass because she's dressed to the gods, to the nines, and she's like dancing with everyone. And when it hits, they give you like a 5-minute warning. We're already like standing on our chairs. Everyone's dancing. We get our bottles and they go like 3, 2, 1. The bass drops and it is just mayhem. Like, spraying, dancing, the music. It is so fun. And I hate how fun it is because you could be spraying me with water and I'd probably still have a good time. But the fact that it's champagne makes it so ridiculous. And we're just watching people like spray champagne, empty bottle, order another one, spray it, order another one, spray it. Like, they had a champagne gun. It was like a gold, like AK-47 that you plug a bottle of champagne into and spray it around the fucking room. They had like the Magnum bottles that people are carrying on their shoulders. People are like dancing. I mean, it was core memory by far. One of the best like vacation trip moments I think of our lives, me, my mom, my sister. And it was just like, my mom is on the table dancing, shaking her ass. Like, she's getting hyped up by everyone. Like, all the young people thought she was so fucking fun and cool. And like, literally she was the main character in that moment. And it was so much fun. And like, it ends and we're like, that was unbelievable. Like, we oh my God, that was worth every penny. Like, we're talking about how it was the best ending to a trip that it could be. We get outside of Cloud 9 and it's snowing pretty hard. And the thing about powder, like fresh powder, is it's very like sticky on your skis. So like if you get stuck in fresh pow pow, it's very hard to get out. So I saw my mom probably have 3 glasses of champagne. She's feeling nice and buzzed. And the snow's coming down real, real hard. And I'm like, okay, this isn't going to be easy for her to get down. It's a hard mountain. So I'm like, Megan, my sister, you stay behind her. I'll stay in front of her and we'll like guide you down and we'll like, take breaks. And so we start going down the mountain and she's like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, woo. And so she's makes her turn and she's going down. She makes her turn. She's going down and we're like, oh, great. This is no problem. Well. I, turn around to stop to wait for her to come down another couple feet. And she just like gets locked in some pow, some fresh powder. And I see her kind of like sit back on her skis and she eats it. Like, not bad, but I know like her skis didn't pop off when they should have. Like, she fell, pretty bad. And my sister's like, oh, like skis over to her. And I'm like, okay, she's going to get up. She doesn't get up. And I'm like, she's going to get up. She doesn't get up. So I like mountain climb up the fucking mountain with my skis on. The fastest I've ever, I was out of breath so fast. And I'm like, Mom, are you okay? And she's like, I think I twisted my ankle. Like, that's how she said it. She's like, I think I twisted my ankle. And we're like, okay, you want to like, wait a minute? Like, let's take a couple breaths. Like, let's try and stand up. She tries to stand up. She can't even put weight on it. And I'm like, okay, do you want me to go get ski patrol? And she's like, yeah. So I ski down as fast as I can. My sister stays with her. I find ski patrol. I'm like, hey, my mom twisted her ankle. She's 68. Like, she's in the red ski pants on this part of the mountain. Like, my sister texts me, okay, ski patrol's here. They're going to toboggan her down. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so funny and embarrassing. Like, I can't believe it. Like, oh my God. And I'm like, Mom, don't tell them like you drank or whatever. And what's the first thing she does? Listen, I had 3 glasses of champagne, but I wasn't drunk and I know what I'm doing. I know I'm a good skier. Like this, I just got caught an edge in some powder. And I'm like, all right. So she comes down and of course, somehow her ski patrol is even hotter than my Carl. Like, he was so hot, and my mom is like talking shit, like, you single? Da 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 da. I'm like, Mom, oh my God. So she gets down to the bottom of the hill, and the ski patrol is like, listen, if you can't stand up on it, we're gonna call an ambulance for you. And we're like, oh my God, we just did this. I'm like, do we need to really like get an ambulance again? Like, can we just take an Uber? And my mom's like, yeah, we'll get an Uber. She tries to stand up and it's bad. She cannot walk. And we're like, fuck it. She has Medicaid. Just call the fucking ambulance. Ambulance shows up. They try to take her boot off. They can't. They have to like do all of this matrix mechanical shit to get her boot off. The guy looks at it, the paramedic looks at it and just goes, yeah, that's broken. And we're like, what? And then he's like, I've been doing this a long time. That's a broken ankle. And we're like, oh shit. Okay. I guess I'll take all the skis. My sister rides in the ambulance with my mom to the hospital. I'm literally walking into the emergency department, seeing all the same exact people that I had just seen a few days early. And they're like, where are you back? I'm like, I'm here with my mom. They think she broke her ankle. We haven't called my dad yet. And she starts, I think the adrenaline again wears off and she starts to be in fucking pain. Like they need to hop her up on Dilaudid. Like she can't even get to the x-ray machine. So they have to wheel the x-ray machine into the emergency room. They x-ray it and they're like, okay, you broke your ankle on both bones, like your main bones. You tore all of the ligaments around it and it's dislocated hanging out of the socket. And we're like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? Like she literally was like, I think I twisted my ankle like 20 minutes ago. Now it's fucking like hanging off the hinges. And they're like, listen, you should probably call her husband, your dad, and she's going to need surgery. And we're like, what? This was the last run of the last day of our vacation. Like, we're supposed to fly home tomorrow. And they're like, yeah, that's not going to happen. And we're like, oh my God. So basically the doctor's like, hey, we need to give your mom ketamine to reset the ankle. Like, we have to put it back in the socket. And we're like, jealous, but okay, go for it. So they tell us, they're like, okay, you guys have to leave the room because we don't know how this is going to go. There's like 7 people in the room. They give her ketamine and they reset the ankle. And we only came in like after they were done. And she was like the happiest, most flying high I have ever seen her. She went from being in like excruciating pain, like shivering, crying, like couldn't breathe because it was so painful, to like, wow, the Matrix. I was in the Matrix climbing cubes and they're like, yeah, you did great. I'm like, oh, mom's in a K-hole. Mom's in a K-hole in Aspen. So long story short, I'll give you the rundown of the next like few hours. I call my dad. My dad's like, are you fucking kidding me? What the fuck? We are like, this is still iconic. Everyone who was at the bottom of the hill was like cheering my mom on because they thought she was just like such a rock star and they thought it was such a bummer she had to be toboggan down. My mom was like, this was still the best party of my life. I'm so glad we went to this thing. And yet they were like, she has to have surgery on her foot. There's a thing about Aspen being so bougie in that it comes in handy when you're in the hospital because they have some of the best doctors in the world, because they have the X Games there. They have Olympic athletes there year round. Like, if you want to have surgery on your foot or your knee or something, part of your body, you want like that sports doctor to do it. So we're like, okay, I guess we're going to do this surgery here in Aspen. And we're like fully prepared to like stay an extra week. We're rearranging flights. We're doing everything. And then they're like, oh, our surgeon's on vacation. And we're like, oh. And so it went from she needs to stay overnight in the hospital, she needs to have surgery like immediately before the swelling gets bad, to actually, I think you guys have to fly back to Florida to get surgery by one of y'all's doctors, because we don't think it's a good idea for her to like stay here and let the swelling get bad. And if you guys have a flight out, you should just take it. We'll hop her up on pain pills and you guys get home and like go see a doctor. And we're like, okay. So they fucking wrap her foot up like in a concrete cast basically, and she's in a wheelchair. I'm like fireman carrying my mother around with a broken rib and a concussion, like in and out of an Uber. My dad can't help because he's so sick and old and like barely can like is hanging on himself. My sister, thank God she's a CrossFit queen, is helping me balance her and pick her up and like get her shit. Like we have to pack all of her stuff. They almost cut off her pants, her ski pants, to get to her foot. And my mom was like, "No, I just bought these. Don't." Like it was such chaos. Like at one point when they were doing the ketamine, like resetting of her ankle, me and my sister stepped out into the hallway to like grab a snack because we were like, oh, we haven't eaten in a long time. And I was so discombobulated that the only thing I thought to grab was egg salad. I don't know. Like it was just so, everything was happening so fast and so like chaotic at once. And again, mind you, my mother has never broken a bone. She's never been like ill. She has never had any major surgery. My mother is the healthiest person I know. And 2 weeks ago, she had to have emergency heart surgery. And then this happened. Like, what the fuck is going on, universe? So we basically get back to our condo. We all pack up. We're like, we got to get the fuck out of Aspen. This shit is cursed. And yet we still had the best, most fun, greatest family vacation despite flu, concussion, cracked ribs, black eye. Mom's shattered her ankle, having surgery back in Tampa. She's got to get a rod in her foot and some screws, and she's going to be out for like 6 weeks, which trying to tell my mom not to like work for 6 weeks is going to be chaos. But that was the ski trip from heaven and hell. That's why Sweet Henny got me my head massage appointment. That is why I think we lost the escape room, because I was recovering from a concussion. That's my fucking story, and I'm sticking to it. Can't tell me nothing. Ask me if I'd go back to Aspen. In a heartbeat, I would. Ask me if I'd go back to Cloud9. In a heartbeat, I would. I still highly recommend broke girl, rich girling that shit. That was the week, confidants. And I come home. I have my little Valentine's Day. And then I find out that Henny has to leave the country. He, for his job and his visa status, he could not stay past this evening in America. We're not totally sure if he's going to the UK. Right now he's on his way to Vancouver. So now he is gone at least for 6 to 8 weeks, possibly indefinitely, depending on the market of the football clubs. And I'm sad, girl. I'm happy, but I'm sad. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in that place where I'm like, I miss my boo, but also I just had this like incredible, amazing trip, but also I had a concussion, but also I need to like get back to work and like get my life together. And also I have to move out of this gorgeous house that I've loved so much in a few months, or like in 2 months. And so I'm like trying to find places. Henny was supposed to move with me, but now like that's up in the air. Like it's all very complicated. We're dating this girl, but she's like, well, I don't know like what we are. Like it's just a lot. It's just a lot. If anyone's like reading the stars right now, could you fucking give me a clue about what the fuck I should be? Should I be lighting incense? Should I be like setting out crystals? Should I be protecting myself? Someone help me. Confidants, that was a wild ride. Thank you for letting me gab. I loved it. Listen, if you're still here, why don't you go on, get us over to iTunes and give us 5 stars. Oh, we could use some ratings, babes. We could use some ratings. And if it's not 5 stars, please don't rate it at all, because I am sensitive. Hey, check out Caked Up on Etsy. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your week. Let me know what you've done for this holiday and how to celebrate. And we will see you next week, confidants. Bye.